what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. It is officially Jaden Daniels' revenge season. First off, last night, BK talking in the press conference, JD5's tough as hell, man.
Yep.
And in the captain's meeting, apparently, that they have at the beginning of every single week before practice, for anything, Jaden Daniels went out of his way, after the big rib shot against Mizzou, not feeling good, whatever. He went out of his way to tell Coach Kelly, look, I want all the normal reps. I want to do everything that I've done every single week up to this point. And that's without being 100% healthy, right? That's not because he was feeling great. That's because he felt like he needed to show his team what it means that you're not going to feel 100%. Your body's not going to be fully right at this point in the season, but it can't stop you from putting in the work. And there is something to be said from a leadership perspective, Jake, when you see your knight in shining armor, your leader, your general, your alpha out there doing the dirty work, not swiping the 6-year senior card like he could be, not taking time off to get his body right. And by the way, and to be clear, Coach Kelly did say by yesterday, finally, he looked 100% again. But doing the hard, tough preparation on Tuesday and on Wednesday to get ready to dominate on Saturday, a morale boost for the troops.
Oh, it's without question. And even within the game, we talked about it a couple of different times. Like, he takes what I thought was a late hit, whatever, hurts his ribs in the end zone. And multiple times in that game, he had blood coming from different places.
Yep.
And just continues to go out there. I think, what, he missed 2 plays maybe total?
I think it ended up being 3. He missed whatever happened the rest of that red zone possession.
So you missed a couple of plays there.
I think there were like 7 false starts that started the possession just cratered.
That's very fair. But yeah, at that position, very easily, in the level that you're playing right now, certainly on a Monday, you get a vet day.
Yep.
You get a little swipe the card vet day. And if you don't take that because you're like, hey, I know that I got to be out here. It's going to be good if I'm out here. I need the reps, even though he doesn't. And I need my teammates to see me out here. All of that is great. I mean, he has been incredibly consistent on and off the field. Not just this year. I mean, you can go back to last year, but certainly this year. He is everything you want from that position. I don't say this very often about that position.
Yeah.
But he is one of the toughest son of a guns I have ever seen out there.
Well, and, if he's going to do it, who am I to not go out there and practice and not do this thing, right?
Yep.
So good on it. But the reason why I'm calling it revenge season is because let's actually revisit last year's Auburn game. I don't know if other shows have done it. We haven't done it on this show. Last year's Auburn game was easily Jaden Daniels' worst of the entire season. That's without looking at whatever, Arkansas, but both were awful. It is the game, Jake, if you remember, that caused many to essentially bail on him. Yeah. Like some never came back, right? But for a lot of you, even for me, this pushed me to the edge where by the time you got to Tennessee, I think it was the following week, I was like, look, man, if he doesn't show up against Tennessee, I'm ready to make some moves, try some different things, right? So it is the game that caused so many to immediately write him off for the rest of his career. Look at this box score, and please explain it to me. Jaden Daniels finishes 8 of 20 for 80 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Nussmeier goes 2 of 6 for 5 yards. Robbie Ashford goes 19 of 38 for 337, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Yeah. So Jaden Daniels throws for 80, no touch. Robbie Ashford goes for 337 and 2 touchdowns. And then Coy Moore got a pass.
Coy Moore.
Yeah, because this box score is hilarious.
That is a name I've not thought about in a while.
LSU's leading receiver, John Emery Jr. with 1 catch for 39 yards. Malik Neighbors had 2 for 26. Brian Thomas didn't even record a statistic. So Jaden Daniels throws for 80, 4 yards per attempt, 40% completion. Fast forward a year later. Jaden Daniels is averaging 73% completion, 10.9 yards per attempt, 328 yards a game through the air, and over 3 touchdowns a game through the air, 19 on the season. He's also averaging 5.6 yards per carry, and an additional 70 yards on the ground, and about 1 touchdown a game on the ground. Our guy a year later is averaging and accounting for 400 total yards a game and essentially 4 touchdowns. What in the actual hell? You want to talk about growth? There you go. Right there. And so the point of all of this is this new LSU offense where finally the receivers are who we thought they would be. And Jaden Daniels is a true Heisman candidate. It is time at home at night for this offense to gain revenge on this Auburn defense for embarrassing them last season.
Yeah, it was. And that game, John Emery had a really nice game.
Yeah.
In that one. It was kind of his game on offense. It was Greg Brooks on defense.
Absolutely.
And he was the closer in that
Gotta
game.
honor Greg Brooks with your performance like every weekend. But again, like Jake said, he won you the game last year.
He had multiple moments. And so, yeah, that stat line's hard to believe. And Jaden was good last year. I mean, there were certainly times. I mean, that 3-week stretch, the Ole Miss, Florida, Alabama, he was playing as well as anybody. But he did have a couple of speed bumps. The Tennessee game, the Auburn game. The A&M game wasn't as bad as people throw out there. That was just the defense couldn't tackle what turns out to be the NFL's leading rusher.
He's pretty good.
It turns out he's pretty good running back. Jimbo, what were you doing with him? That's a whole different subject. But, yeah, this is probably one that eats at him a little bit because it was by far his worst game. They couldn't get anything going. And it wasn't a good Auburn team last year, and you almost lost on the Plains because offensively you could not do anything. You couldn't get anything going. I mean, really, even John Emery, remember his plays were pretty incredible. I mean, he made some big-time, prime-time plays, so this one has to eat at you a little bit. Giving up that many yards to Robbie Ashford should also eat at you. I remember there was a coverage. Sage Ryan got confused. He let the guy run right past him for a big hit. I do remember that one from that game from a year ago, but you
75-yarder, I think, to start the game.
You cannot allow this passing offense.
Well, so that's where that kind of is in tune with the question that we asked yesterday, though, right? Which is what style of defense do you play? Do you trust to go man up and risk a busted coverage like that and give them a big play, or because they are a little more faltering, do you try to consistently force them to play underneath? I feel like, judging from Brian Kelly's answers yesterday, they're going with the latter option. It seemed like he's showing much more respect to the passing game than
this
maybe not. Yeah, I know. Just in his answer. But, is that actually indicative of the game plan? We will see. Is he just doing what coaches do and being like, they can throw the ball? But no, he seemed to be saying that.
It is legal for them to throw a forward pass.
He did seem to be saying that, that they're not just treating this. Okay, this is what he said. He said some teams legitimately don't have the ability to throw the ball. He believes they do, and that they choose to be a physical running team first. And so that, you can't lose sight of that and just completely disrespect the pass. I guess it's like last year when KJ Jefferson went down and you're playing Arkansas's backup quarterback, they didn't have a choice. They could not throw the ball. That would be the difference, I think, in what BK was saying.
Yes. I mean, obviously the Arkansas situation, that doesn't really ever happen. But when you look at what Peyton Thorne is or is not, it's even when they do say, okay, let's throw the ball, it's not been great. Against conference opponents, he's completing barely half of his passes. I think he's a little bit over 51%. Yeah, 51.6. 126 yards per game in conference. He's got a quarterback rating of 79 in conference play. So if they could do more.
79 and Jaden Daniels at 196.
Exactly. If they could do more, wouldn't they do it? I can't find.
Maybe, look, I don't want to read too much into press conference answers because it could be a bit of obfuscation, right? Maybe he's not actually obfuscation, just kind of muddying the waters a little bit. Not really saying just kind of presenting one thing that may not be necessarily true, just kind of trying to confuse. Oh, wait, is LSU going to play coverage? But I mean, they do, right? I mean, they play what, cover 3 mainly?
Quarters and 3.
Yeah, quarters. So, we'll see.
They did throw in some cover 1 against Mizzou, though, more than they had.
This would feel like a cover 1 game, but we shall see. He also did have some really good insight talking about cover 1 yesterday and how basically the LSU's gotten so much value out of the Tiger running game this year because when teams try to play cover 2 and they want to bracket you on the outside with those safeties, they just run the ball. And then as soon as teams try to play cover one, they just throw it over the top. And that's why Logan Diggs' emergence has been so impactful. I think this as well. So we mentioned Jaden Daniels' revenge season. How about Malik Neighbors? 2 catches for 26 last year.
Yeah.
And now he's second in the country at 128 yards a game. He's 10th in the country with 6 touchdowns. Brian Thomas, I don't know if he was hurt. He didn't even record a statistic last season. And this year, he leads the entire country with 9 touchdown catches, and he's also 9th in the country in yards. So those two, major revenge sort of season. And then you know what else I love, Jake? This Auburn defense, like I said, I think they're pretty damn good. I mean, most people do. Everybody does, right? I think they're better than Mizzou, Ole Miss. I mean, Mizzou's probably the best out of this bunch, but I think they're better than Arkansas, Mizzou, Ole Miss. Yeah, they're not as good as Florida State, but better than those others. This is a great stepping stone to getting ready to deal with the defense of Alabama and getting ready to deal with the defense of A&M. Like, if you go dominate this defense, that's I'll give that more credence than even what you've done over the last few weeks against those defenses.
Yeah, what did we look them up? I mean, their defensive numbers in the country, I mean, they are much, much better, obviously, than when they sit offensively. But also, and we talked about, I think it was yesterday, just them interchanging kind of their front. Like, that can be a challenge. I want to see how they handle this as far as LSU's offense. If they're a 3-down, 4-down, how do they identify it? Because it's all nickel at the end of the day, like we talked about. But still, like, that can be. I know for me, personally, like in run game, if they change at the last moment, or if they've got a guy that can kind of do both, he can be a 3-down guy in a stack backer position, or he can walk himself onto the line. Like, what does that personnel look like in this game? Those things can mess you up a little bit. And all it takes is 1 tackle for loss, balls out, going the other way for this game to get hairy. So the defense is definitely respectable. I agree with you. Up front, I think this is, outside of Florida State, probably the best that you faced.
Yeah, I mean,
even Mizzou. I think Mizzou plays hard, and I think they've got a really good player on the edge, but the totality of the group, I don't think it's as good as this.
Yeah, and I love Blake Baker, but Auburn's got more talent.
Yeah.
Remember, Auburn, even after all the madness, is still one of the 15 teams with the above 50. Yes. Isn't that crazy? They're still one of the 15 teams above 50% 4 and 5 stars, the blue chip ratio, all that. So, again, you get way too triggered by this. Yes, Auburn has a ton of latent ability. And, again, they are fully bought in. Or as Brian Kelly said yesterday, they are committed to being a physical team. Offensively, everybody blocks. Everybody's bought into this physical rushing triple option attack. And defensively, they have a safety that leads the country in picks, and they're bought in. I mean, they didn't hang with Georgia by accident.
Right.
And not even hang. They didn't carry a lead on Georgia the entire game by accident. Now, granted, I think Tiger Stadium is the massive difference between that game and this, but still, this is not nobody that you're playing this weekend.
25th in the country, by the way, in total defense.
Yeah.
The top 25 defense in the country. Only giving up 322 yards per game. Only giving up 11 touchdowns the entire season.
That's what I'm saying. And so right now, you have a very salty defense going against what it seems to be an unstoppable offense. And if LSU and this offensive line, everybody else can prove it against this Auburn team, well, watch out. Because that's when the rocket fuel gets ignited. So let's go. Let's go, boys. Jaden Daniels' revenge season starts tomorrow. Or now, whatever. Now! Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.